Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And it is time for part 2 of the Primal Demon World Tour. This time going into the first couple stages of the old Tempered Edge events. So we're going to do 5 stages here, starting with the Earth stage. You know, these do not start very difficult, but by the end of it, with, Light Veldora, it can be very, very difficult for some teams, and almost actually impossible for some teams to actually beat Veldora. This team has the required power to do such a thing, so it's not, as big of an issue as like the Tempest Elite team versus that Veldora, because that straight up wasn't possible. But, the first couple stages of these should not be overly difficult, but it is the next jump up in difficulty from Conquest. But not quite, Inferno 1, 2, or 3 of the current beatdown battle. So this is a good kind of middle ground. And honestly, these stages were not built for EX teams to begin with. So your team will probably be able to run rampant through most of them. The only one being the next Earth stage, which can give people a lot of issues. But let's go ahead and jump in. It's the same Primal Demon team that we had from the Conquest video. I've just put all the gear back on, because these are slightly more difficult stages now. You should have at least some kind of decent gear, if not, just gear in general. But let's just get started. Oh, okay. Well, the game is going to play nice with me today and give me just a full hand of greens to start out with. So these are space characters. Thank God again that we have 2 single target Earth characters that can handle this. So we'll bring you in and we'll take Diablo out for Jean, and we'll use both of her buffs because they're free, and there's no reason to not use them immediately. And I think we'll do this, and we'll put a huge dent in their HP, or a sizable dent. But Benimaru is an AoE attacker. Soe is a single target. They do stun and they can bind as well, which could be kind of a hassle for some people if they're not truly prepared. But as long as you recognize that, and sometimes they just straight up miss, right? So that can also be nice. This hand isn't quite what I wanted, so I'm going to send these oranges. Thankfully they're Earth characters, so we'll still do good damage here. And okay, well, we dodged the first time, we didn't dodge the second, and we had a Gaia Orb change, so fairly unfortunate turn of events right there. So 25 and 50, so that's what, 75 points. So yeah, we don't have enough there. He's only stunned for 1 turn. So let's go ahead and just send this orange. Jean is now stunned. Not great. We're going to have to take out Blanc for Diablo. Yeah, and then re-orb change here. But this will give us, a decent amount of points now. We could have used Guy's orb change as well, and we could have saved ourselves a few. But it's okay, it's whatever. We're going to have an ult for Diablo, or not Diablo, but Guy. So he should be able to kill, one of them, or not, because he's stunned. So, things can get a little annoying here. But I think we can safely take out, at least Benimaru here. So let's bring Misery in for Diablo, and then we'll do the 2 stacks. Unfortunate that Guy is stunned, but otherwise I would have just swapped him out, but it is what it is. So we'll go ahead and swap the ult away, because I don't want to actually do it, because I do want the actual points off of a blue orb instead of the points off an alt orb. That's more impactful for this team. And will we be able to kill Benimaru here with just 3 orbs? Probably not, but let's go ahead and start buffing up our ult gauge more than anything. It'll just give us some ridiculous amount, and that way also Jean will get her ult attack. Hopefully next turn, yeah, and then we'll do this and we'll just use up all the points we have. This is why I didn't want an ult here. I wanted full blues to get maximum gauge out of it. So yeah, 245 points. And okay, awesome. Benimaru is dead. Perfect. So Soe, single target, not that much damage. Now we have 2 ults. Now we can go ham. So we'll do the weakness strike and element resistance. We'll do the ult and the crit. And we got enough points to do one more thing, so we might as well make it fun, right? Let's bring Diablo in. And we'll use his Pierce and Physical buff. 2 stacks of Violet. You don't need to do all this. He would have died off 1 ult by itself, but I want to punish him for stunning everybody so often. And I think we'll send Jean's ult, because we haven't seen that. Right? Well, we're not going to see it. We did 700,000. He only had like 150 something HP, so... Alright, next. Okay, RNGesus is being my friend today, so we can just use Misery here, turn 1. Get a full hand of blues. This Milim stage was the original half anniversary event, right? You know, its version of Beatdown Battle. This stage was for the space stacking team with Veldora, the hero, Space Milim, Carrion. So it's not difficult, but we do have 2 space characters here who are going to do a lot of damage, more than anything else. She does have some weird kind of buffs, and you have to nuke her on weird turns for some reason. It's like turn 6 and then turn 11 that she drops all of her defense down. It's pretty wonky, but you know, it is what it is. Alright, oh, I forgot to use the... Okay, whatever. It's not a big deal. She's not that difficult. Yeah, look at that. We did 31k right there, and now she puts everything up. We're on turn 2. Not a big deal. And we got a good Guy orb change, so even better. So we'll take Jean out, we'll bring Guy in, we'll get another full hand, be looking very, very good now. And I think she's going to be very close to death, even with her defense and her magic resistance and her physical resistance and all that jazz. It's not really going to matter, because again, these stages were not built for EX teams. This stage was built for the very first blue stacking team stage. Right? Yeah, no, I think it was the first blue stacking team. And that's why Veldora is just such a wonky protector, is because he only gives like 250% skill points, but he gives to every orb, even though you still want blues. And, you know, it was their trial run. And then by the time Water 2.0 with Milim and Hinata came out, they had it a little better off. Alright, so let's bring Misery back in. We've got the points to change everything now, so boom, boom. We didn't do as much damage as I thought we would last turn. Not an issue, because look at all these orbs. For Blanc, she has her ult, and you know, at this point, we're going to be able to nuke her with this ult by itself with no issues. So even though she has physical resistance, now she's got Pierce resistance. We don't have to use Diablo's buff. We can. We certainly can. We're not gonna. So let's just go ahead and use this buff. Boom. And I think we're just going to send it, because we don't need to prove that we can do almost 1 million against Milim when she doesn't need 1 million damage done to her. We do 264, and it's certainly plenty. That may be more HP than she actually has to begin with, but there we go. Space Milim Tempered Edge, knocked out in 4 or 5 turns. Easy peasy. Okay, into the light stage. We don't have any light characters, actually. But there are 2 enemies now, and I do want to try and nuke with Diablo being our only AoE character. Well, besides Misery, sorry. But yeah, so let's go ahead and just send these oranges and maybe pray that next turn is just a full green hand, or greens and blues at the very least. So we'll send Diablo last, whatever. We didn't use any Jean orbs, not Jean, but Blanc buffs. We don't have to. Please be greens. Perfect. Awesome. That is what I like to see. So now we can use the Blanc buffs, get some extra gauge off this. That's a lot of Diablo orbs as well. So that's going to work out very, very well. And we don't need that much damage here. This stage was meant for a burst team, a green burst team. So yeah, they have 146k. That is not a lot. And as long as we can get an ult here, if we don't have enough to actually buff ourselves, we'll have to wait at least another turn, maybe. Try and get some extra points in a stack here. Alright, that's fine. We can work with that. Let's get our 2 stacks in. I think... Are we going to have enough here? Yeah, because we can use Guy's Orb Change. What am I talking about? I actually don't know if... I'm going to take you... No, actually, no, we're not. So let's bring Guy in for Jean. Let's use his orb change. Boom. And then we can use Misery's orb change for 25 points. and then use the alt swap, and it's free. So that'll give us another full hand of blues. That'll get us the points that we need to at least get some kind of buff going on for Diablo. And then we should be able to kill, because he should be able to do 146k, right? Off 2 big-time buffs, yeah, 167 points. We could do the guaranteed crit and the guaranteed pierce and the buff and the alt damage, and we're going to be looking easy peasy lemon squeezy. Even with a heal there, I think, is that crit damage or crit defense that she has on? Maybe. Guard rate. Alright, well that doesn't matter at all. So, and they gave us another Diablo hand, and just in case we weren't satisfied. Alright, well, let's bring you in. You're not going to do much for us, so big time buff, and this AoE alt should kill. You know, should being the key word, right? And, oh, not quite. Alright. Oh, there we go. Alright, well, the follow-up attack's killed. Turn 4. The AoE alt, not quite enough power, 124. He doesn't have a good support under him. We were primarily focusing on single targets, but hey, it worked out just fine, and we were not in any danger of dying if we had to push another 1 or even 2 turns, so not a big deal. Alright, the Wind stage. One of my least favorite metas ever to release was the Wind 2.0 team with this Diablo and this free-to-play Geld. Geld and Trainee were very, very good units, and they still are very good units. Diablo, meh. Dino, meh. I didn't much care for him, but whatever. Some people did, and you know, that's all subjective, right? We do have a Wind character, though. She's not strong, but she's certainly a Wind character. So we're going to send her orbs last. And that's actually not the hand I was looking for, game. Okay. Yeah, we can't really do anything about that yet, can we? Alright, well, at least let's get some Blanc buffs on, just for funsies onesies. And we'll send the Blanc orbs? Yeah, okay, that'll work. Even if we don't get the AoE alt with Misery, not a big deal. That works out very well, okay? And then we can leave Jean up front, and we'll have probably a decent amount of buffs going. So, boom. Let's go ahead and get some extra gauge here, and then we'll get some extra alt gauge, and then some extra alt damage as well. And we'll be looking pretty good. If they nuke on turn 5, and that's really not what you want to be doing, especially for a newer player, because Diablo pretty much will either one-shot somebody or take you very low, and then the Geld alt will come in and finish the job. So you do want to avoid that. So you want to at least try and take out Diablo first, because Geld by himself is not very strong. He's all defensive buffs, while Diablo is offensive. As long as you can avoid that outcome, you're going to be fine. Okay, how many points do we have to deal with? 108. It's not super great right here. We can probably use Misery's Orb Change and Alt Swap and then Guy. So boom boom, yeah, and then Guy. And then we'll get a 6-hand of blues. And then turn 5 is where Diablo will nuke, but we will just take out Diablo and call it good. We'll have both Jean and Blanc's alts ready to go. And I think between them, we will be able to take out both of them. So we'll probably send Jean against Diablo since she'll be weaker, and he has less HP. Yeah, and then we'll send a full power Blanc against Geld and probably one-shot him. Okay. So as long as we have the points for it, right? We need at least 160. We have 210. Even better. So, let's get... Do they have pierce resistance or anything like that? Physical resistance, pierce power. Oh, there's they have pierce resistance. Alright, so let's not use the Guy buff then. Let's use the crit and the alt buff. And then we'll use Jean's elemental resistance down. I guess. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just do that. And then we'll use a couple stacks, or one stack of Jean Blanc, get them mixed up all the time, to raise our alt damage up to 110%. So again, we'll send her there, we'll send Blanc on Geld, and then these just follow-up orbs, even though they are nerfed, will still probably be enough to kill. So 109k, Diablo's dead, awesome. 149, not quite enough, but hopefully these follow-ups can do it. Doesn't look like it, never mind. Okay, well, we took out the primary damage dealer off of the team, so this shouldn't do that much. Yeah, 2,000 damage, not really in danger. But, you know, Jean is low, right? So if we had allowed that Diablo to ult us, one of these girls probably would have died. Like, they would have died. And while losing one character is not the end of the world on this team, it is, you know, it does hamper your damage capability. But now, oh, we didn't actually kill. Wow. Okay. Well, now he's dead. Cool. There we go. Tempered Edge, wind stage taken out. A little bit more difficult, right? Turn 7, not ideal, but no one died. But this just goes to that this just goes to show that we are starting to ramp up the difficulty and the tankiness of the enemies in these Tempered Edge stages. So it's only going to get more difficult from here. We have one more segment of the video to go, and then that will be it. Alright, the final stage against water, well, technically Fire Shuna, but it's meant for a water team. Turn 1, your frontline units get nerfed, so having your DPSs in the back are what's ideal. And then on turn 3, they get nerfed again, so you want to ideally have your DPSs away on turn 3. But this is meant for a stacking team. The problem is that she has a lot of pierce, or she has permanent pierce and crit resistance, which means that if you don't have someone to seal that, you're going to do infinitely less damage. So we're going to have to play around because we have both crit and pierce on this team attached to our primary buffs. So we might just have to straight up overpower her with attack and ult damage more than anything else. But let's go ahead. How do I want to do this? Do I send the 2 Guy Orbs? I think I send the 2 Guy Orbs. We'll take Jean and swap her in. That way we can get this. And then maybe next turn will just be a full hand of Misery. Okay, almost. That actually could have gone a lot better. We do have 2 Earth units against a fire enemy, which is also not super great. Let's do this. So next turn, turn 3, we have to take both Jean, or actually just Blanc out, because Jean's not going to do too much because she's type disadvantage. Alright. Okay. Well, that works too. Sure. So let's get a stack on our 2 ladies. We'll send them both to the back. We'll bring Guy and Misery up front. Okay, yeah, sure, this works. We need, okay, we have enough, right? 30 and 25, so that's 55 points. Let's do another stack of the ult damage. The pierce power, if we can get up to 100% pierce power, we will be able to offset her pierce resistance, or 70%, sorry, which shouldn't be that difficult to do, realistically. Green and orange. Boom, boom. This will give us a decent amount of points. We only have 1 stack right now of Violet, but it'll give a lot of protection gauge. That's more important. And we're going to dodge the attack nerf on our backline units. So there's the reapply of the attack nerf, which stays until turn 8, which, you know, I don't really want that to be a thing. 101 points now. We're just going to have to do this again. Boom, boom. Okay. And then we'll bring our 2 ladies back up front. We'll bring Blanc in for Diablo, and we'll bring Jean in for Guy, because I don't want to have 2 Earth units up front at the same time. I don't need them to take excess damage. And you probably don't want them to take excess damage, because your units might not be as strong as mine. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not enough to use any more stacks of Jean or Blanc. Blanc. Why do I keep getting the names mixed up? White and yellow. I'm not French, okay? Alright. So 1 more stack. Boom. And so we'll alt swap away. Awesome. And then we can use Misery's orb change. And then Guy's orb change. I guess we can bring in 2 characters. There's an ult coming, though. Yeah, and we'll do it anyways. Alright. I know I just said I don't want them up front at the same time, but we're going to have to deal with it anyways. Alright. And let's get another stack of the ult and the Pierce power. I think by now we're about matching what she has. 60%. So we even need, what, 1 more stack to offset her Pierce resistance. So at least that's something. And then for the ult buff and the crit buff from Guy, maybe I just don't have Blanc up front on turn 8. Use the Guy buff, that way she doesn't get the crit, but she still gets the ult. And then bring Blanc in for the actual nuke. Or maybe that's not even necessary, because we don't have millions of HP here on this stage. That actually didn't do as much as I thought it would. Okay. That's perfect. And we're going to have an EX ult with Blanc as well, which is really going to help our damage output. And that's a very nice hand. Awesome. Alright, so 2 more stacks. Turn 6. Remember that Jean's skill evolves, awakens on turn 8, and gives us the extra 300 points, allowing us to use just a whole butt ton of stacks of Blanc again. And that will be very, very impactful. So we'll take Guy out. We'll use your ult swap and your orb change. And then we'll use some extra buffs with Blanc. So now we're going to be not only offsetting, but now overpowering the buff that Shuna has for herself against Pierce. And we got, you know, some more attack here. We're going to get the EX ult. We're going to get an ult for Jean as well. We have 1 more turn. She's at half HP. And I do want to go at, you know, as much full power as possible with this. That is excellent right there. So we can now take you out, right, after this stack. We need to use the Guy orb change and the ult swap. So that's going to be 40 plus, so it's 90 points. So let's use another stack here. Another stack there. Boom, boom. You can come out, and we'll bring Guy in. Perfect. And then we'll ult swap, orb change. That'll give us a full hand of blues. Maximum points that we can probably get. And while I'm not concerned about nuking with Jean at all, because she's going to have that crit buff on from Guy, because she's up front, it's going to clash with the crit defense buff that Shuna has. So Jean will not do a lot of damage, 1, for being type disadvantage, and 2, having crit. So, but because Blanc is in the back, we can freely use this buff, and Blanc will no longer have that guaranteed chance to crit, which will no longer nerf her damage, but she will still benefit from the ult damage buff that Guy is giving everything anyways. So let's take you out now. Boom. We'll take Misery out. Since we've also been using the orange orb change, it's also been lowering Pierce resistance. So this is actually only at 50% because it offsets. And now we're going to have a lot more than that with this team, because we're about to use Blanc's skills a lot now after we use the big time skill with Jean. So let's give ourselves the Pierce buff. Let's do the element buff, and then we can use the reset and the extra 300 points because it's now turn 8. And it's reset Blanc's skills back down to 0, and we can just start stacking up again. I'd rather just stack up the attack or the ult damage because it's stacking 2 different skills at once instead of just 1. Because we don't need extra ult gauge now at this point because we just want to kill. So we're going to spend all these 300 points just on 1 skill, ult and Pierce power, and we can use it, you know, 5 times? Plus we can use the other skill twice for just a little bit extra attack, because the first one's free, the next one is 20. And now we're going to do a literal butt ton of damage. So this is the final fight of the video. So we're at 200% ult damage, and we have 180% Pierce power versus her 50% Pierce resistance. So I think we're going to be okay. I think we'll be okay. Yeah, 1.8 million. There we go. Congratulations. We have cleared the first 5 stages of Tempered Edge using the Primal Demon team. Wasn't that difficult. It can get it done. So let me know what you guys think. But that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.